Power users are very proficient using Start menu, Taskbar, know how to organize folders on the desktop, understand settings, and use key productivity features of Windows 10. In this video, I'll teach you tips and tricks how to become Windows 10 power user. Let's take a look at the Windows 10 user interface. When you first log in into Windows 10, you see Start button, which you can click to get access to additional features, Cortana bar, then you have list of applications that are linked to the taskbar, then you have a status bar, and then you have a very quick button to get to the desktop. It's barely visible here on the taskbar. First, let's look at the Start button. When you click the Start button, you see a combination of what was available in Windows 10, Windows 8, and got morphed a little bit when Windows 10 was introduced. So this is the classic Start menu. You see the list of all the applications, which starts with recently added applications. And then in alphabetical order, based on each letter, it shows you what's installed on your computer. Now, some applications, as you can see, they have this arrow to the right, and which means that this is a folder, and applications underneath of this arrow, actual applications that you would need to click that are located in that particular folder. Here on the left, there is a section that shows you different functions, frequently used functions that are available. For example, the user ID that I'm using to record this video called video recording, and this button shows you that you can switch between different users in your computer. You can expand this view of the Start and switch between the users. This is what this first button is for. You can access documents for the given user, access pictures, or access settings available to you as a Windows 10 user. You can also obviously shut down, power off, and there are different options for sleep, shut down, and restart of the computer. On the right, it's a tiles menu, which is useful for touchscreen devices, and there are three categories for the tiles: create, play, and explore. And like I said, it's especially useful for the users that using the touchscreen devices. As you can see, tiles is Microsoft's invention, and they are very useful if you don't just use the mouse, but use rather touchscreen, because they're bigger and much easier to click. Another thing you might consider doing is organizing your applications on Windows Start menu, desktop, and taskbar so you can find and launch them faster. The easiest way to launch Windows applications is using Start button. You just click on the Start button and then select the application you need to launch by navigating through the list of applications. I will be using Notepad to show different ways of launching applications in Windows, but whatever I'll be showing you is applicable to any Windows application installed on your computer. By default, in Start menu, Notepad is located under Windows Accessories, and you can launch it by navigating through the hierarchical structure of Windows Start menu. But keep in mind that this is only one of many ways of launching Windows applications. Let's look at another alternative. You can just click on the Start button and start typing. For example, I will be typing Notepad, and what happens, Windows automatically searches based on the keywords that I'm typing based on the first letters. It will identify all the applications that match this criteria. In this case, it's only Notepad that matches this, but sometimes if it's a generic word, it might be more than one application. So it finds it, and you can click on the applications and launch it again. For me, using typing is the superior method of launching applications, because this way I can find some applications that I don't know where they are located on the menu. But through typing, I can use Windows Help to help me locate and find these applications. Over the years, Start button became not just the launching pad for applications, but also a comprehensive search tool in Windows 10. You can use Start menu to find applications locally, and also Windows launches a web query to find everything that you're looking for based on the keywords you typed online as well. In addition to launching applications from the Start menu, you can also launch specific folder in Windows 10, specific URL in the particular browser, and also launch specific section of settings and control panel. Now let's look at some options how Windows 10 can help you launch applications faster. To do that, let's click on the Start button, type Notepad, and use a right mouse click on your mouse. And one of the options, the last one, is Pin to Taskbar. Taskbar in Windows groups most frequently used applications, and I just clicked Pin to Taskbar, and Notepad shows up by default as the most tried application on the taskbar. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to assume that this is my most frequently used application, and I'm going to drag it to the left. Using Windows Taskbar is one of the most effective ways of launching Windows applications. It is always visible and only requires one mouse click to launch because Windows Taskbar takes real estate on your screen. One of the best strategies I found is only to put applications there that you use most frequently. Windows assigns shortcuts to all applications that's pinned to Taskbar. For example, Notepad would be number 1, Edge browser would be number 2, Chrome browser would be number 3, and etc. To launch those applications, for example, to launch Notepad, you can use Windows 1, which launches Notepad, Windows 2, which would launch Edge browser, and Windows 3 would launch Chrome browser. This way, if you assign most frequently used application to your taskbar in the order how you use them, you can use these shortcuts to launch them very quickly. Windows 10 allows two fastest way of launching the application. The first one is Windows Taskbar, and the second one is keyboard shortcuts. Using Windows Taskbar, you launch application with just one mouse click. Using keyboard shortcut, it's just one keyboard click. The best strategy of using these two tools is to put applications that you use the most frequently and configure them using these two methods for the fastest launch. Another shortcut to launch Windows applications quickly is Pin to Start. To use it, let's find Notepad again by typing Notepad in the Start menu and right mouse click on the found application, and you see there is option Pin to Start. When you select this, nothing happens initially, but when you click Start menu again, you see that there is a Notepad application right here on the tiles portion of the Start menu. Now you can launch Notepad by just clicking the Start button and clicking Notepad in the tile portion. You can also move it and rearrange applications, and for example, if you use Notepad more frequently, you can put it as number 1 here on the tile structure. You can also remove it from the tile portion by using Unpin from Start option and rearranging and putting things back as they used to be. If you'd like the content, please make sure to click the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Another cool way of quickly launching Windows applications is assigning custom shortcut. For example, what you can do, you can assign a shortcut like Alt-Shift-N to Notepad, and when you hit this shortcut on your keyboard, it will always launch Notepad. This is the way to do it. You can right mouse click on the application and open file location, and what happens, it shows where the shortcut to Notepad is located. Not the actual application, but the shortcut. You see this arrow sign in the icon. And what you can do, you can click on the properties for this shortcut. And there's a shortcut key. Nothing is assigned by default, but if I type Alt, then holding Alt, press Shift, and then press N, you see that it assigned Alt, Shift, N shortcut. I click Apply, I click OK. I close File Explorer, and now I'll use this shortcut Alt-Shift-N, and it launches Notepad. To create the most productive environment in Windows, it's always a good idea to differentiate between applications that you need access every day versus every week versus occasional use. You can put the ones that you use most frequently on the taskbar or create Windows keyboard shortcuts for those so you can access them with just one click. A lot of times, instead of launching specific applications in Windows, you may need to launch specific area that you're trying to manage. For example, documents. The best way to do it is click the Start button and then expand Start portion, which is different from the list of applications. You just navigate here, and it shows all the different options here. Video recording, that's the user ID I use. Documents, that's the area we're trying to launch. It also has areas for pictures, settings, and then power options. If you don't expand it, it shows just the icons, but if you're doing it for the first time, it might be worthwhile looking what those areas are. Because I wanted to launch documents, I just click on the documents, and it launches the documents area. You see, this is this PC documents area in Windows. Sometimes you might realize that one of the most frequently used items in Windows for you is not the application, but rather specific folder in File Explorer, or maybe settings, or accessing particular URL. Let me show you how you can optimize and accelerate access to those items in Windows 10. Windows 10 allows you to customize what shows up in that menu. To do that, we just select Documents or Pictures or any other areas. You can't select User ID. It always should stay there. And you can click Personalize this list. And it shows what the options are you might add or remove from that menu. For example, I would use File Explorer. That's what I use very frequently. Settings, Documents. I also look at Downloads, but I rarely use it. I look at Music or Pictures or Videos. I might add Network, and I do not use Personal folder. Obviously, your list might be different, so make sure to choose options that you would use most frequently. Now let's look how it changes after we made those adjustments. Now you see there are more options here, and if I click, it expands and shows that we have Documents, Downloads, we have Network, File Explorer, and if you click on any one of these options, it will launch that area of the Windows application that you're trying to find. And now let's look at one of the coolest recently introduced way of launching Windows applications in Windows 10. If you're a power user and trying to manage the computer in addition to just using it, you find this option useful to launch power options by clicking the Start button, and you do a right mouse click and you see a lot of different options. For example, some options only available in Settings or in Control Panel. Computer Management is a very useful option which launches Computer Management add-in MMC plugin, which allows you to look at different options in Windows, and pretty much File Explorer, Settings, Task Managers, PowerShell, and all of these other options used by power users and Windows administrators very frequently. So this is a neat way to launch and quickly access all of this command. Another way to launch Windows applications faster is to talk to Cortana. First, we need to configure Cortana, which may not be configured by default. To do that, let's click on the Start menu and type Cortana. And by default, it's Cortana Permissions, and this is what we're looking for. And one of the options there is Talk to Cortana. By default, Cortana is not enabled, so we can turn it on, and it will respond to Hey to Cortana. If you also want to launch Cortana manually, for example, by using Windows C shortcut key, you can enable this option, which is what I'm going to do. Let's close it. Now let's launch Notepad using Cortana. Hey Cortana, launch Notepad.
Sure thing. Starting Notepad.
And you see now Notepad application is opened. If you'd like the content, please make sure to click the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. If you frequently visit the same URL, you might consider pinning this URL right to the taskbar so you can access it quickly. You can do it right from your browser. Keep in mind though that different browsers have different capabilities allowing you to do that, and you might accomplish the same goal differently, for example in Chrome and in Edge browsers. Chrome browser allows you to put shortcut on a desktop that will open Chrome with particular URL. To do that, let's navigate to cnn.com. And once you're on the page, what you can do, you can just drag and drop the URL, and you see I'm doing it slowly. Windows allows you to drag and drop it on the desktop. Now if I close Chrome browser and double click on this, it will open the link in the browser as well from the desktop. Windows Edge browser behaves a little bit differently. To put the link right onto the taskbar, you can do it in Microsoft Edge. You click on the menu and you choose the option Pin this page to taskbar, and you see the page is right here. Now you can close the browser, and if you need to quickly navigate to msn.com, you can just click on the icon and msn.com will be opened up in Edge browser. Now let's look at the Windows 10 settings, which helps you to control system, connected phone, connected devices, do personalization, and a lot more. Settings app is the simplified version of Control Panel that was available in Windows for a long time. Control Panel is still available. You can access it if you type the name of the applications in Cortana bar, Control Panel, and it shows up first on the list. And you can see and compare in the Settings app and in Control Panel that are available. I have them side by side, which are pretty much similar, but if you're used to more Control Panel, that it's probably going to be much easier for you to use, especially knowing that it's still available. Let me show you the easy way to access settings through the Start button. If you right click on the Start button, you see that a lot of features available, and we see settings here, we see File Explorer, search, and even run, as well as shut down or sign out for the user and access to the desktop. So same settings app I just showed to you, you can just right-click on the Start menu and select Settings, and it's available. Let me show you one setting I recommend you always change to reduce your blue light exposure. Reducing blue light exposure helps protect your eyes and allows you to stay more productive for longer periods of time when working in the computer systems. To reduce blue light exposure on your computer, consider switching Windows 10 into the dark mode and using night light feature of Windows 10. To do that, let's navigate to Settings, and you can type Dark Mode. And Windows offers you turn on dark mode for apps, and we'll choose this option. Here you can see that by default, Windows offers light colors, and what you need to do, you need to select dark colors. And you see how background for the apps has changed, and now it's much easier on your eyes and you can work longer. To turn on night lights, what you need to do, you need to type night lights. And you can also find this option through settings, but you can also navigate directly. And you see that by default it's not turned on, but you can turn it on. And here you can select the strength of night light, and you see how color is changing potentially. Because we're already in the dark mode, the change is not as substantial, but if you would be in the light mode and your background will be light, you will definitely notice the difference. Now let's look at the Tiles section on the Start menu. So in Tile section, you see tiles, and as you can see, they're organized by groups, and tiles are of the different size. If you right-click on the tile, you have different options that are available. You can unpin from Start, which will remove it. Not the app itself, but it will just unpin and it will not show up. That's what pinning means. You can resize it, and there are 4 different sizes available. This is the medium size of the square. You can do a small size. You can also resize and make a wide size. And you can make a large size. Those are 4 different sizes that are available. I'm going to return it back to the medium size as it was, and as you can see, it fits nicely. And if I drag and drop tiles, especially if they match with the space available, you can organize them very nicely on your desktop. Each tile app, most of them also have additional settings, like for weather app. So you can go into the app settings. Some tiles are live tiles, like for example, weather might show you the live weather based on your region selection, and you can configure it in settings, and you have some other additional options that are available. Let's look at the taskbar, and this is the bar at the bottom of the screen, which has multiple things. It has applications that could be opened based on your selection. For example, if you click on the Edge browser, you can open the Edge browser here on the screen. You can also see some other already opened applications, and indication that some application is opened is in this line that at the bottom of the application. You can also add additional applications to the taskbar, and the reason you might want to do it is so you can quickly launch them when you need to. For example, I do have Excel here pinned. The function of adding applications to taskbar is called pinning them, because you're not actually adding application or deleting, you're just pinning an existing application or unpinning an existing application. You see right now I have Excel because I quickly can launch it. I use it very frequently. So I can just click on Excel and it launches Microsoft Excel. But I don't have Microsoft Word available, so let me walk you through the steps of how to add Microsoft Word. To do that, you can type Word, and there are multiple ways to do it. You can launch it, and it shows up here, and this is Excel that showed up after a while, but I'm going to switch to Word. So you see that Word is running right now because there is a line under the application which shows the application is active. But if I close Word, it disappears from the taskbar. Unlike Excel, if I close Excel, Excel will stay. It's just the line underneath Excel will disappear. So let me launch Word again. And now I would like to pin Word to taskbar so it will be available even after I close Microsoft Word. To do that, I do right mouse click, and there are options here. One of them is pin to taskbar. And now when I close Word, Word still is available and I can launch it when I need to. As you can see, a lot of functions in Windows are available through right mouse click. So when you do right mouse click on the taskbar, it shows a menu that's specific to taskbar. And one feature that you might find very useful is the fact that you can move taskbar on the screen. Right now it's at the bottom, but it does not mean that it has to stay in the bottom. The only reason it's fixed right now is because it's locked. But if you select unlock taskbar, then you can drag and drop it. It could be on the right, it could be on the top if you like it to. And you just need to find the empty space which you can use to drag it from place to place. And you can move it around the screen, and all other windows adjust based on your moves. I'm going to move it back and lock it again. And we will look now at the desktop itself. As you can see, desktop area allows you to organize frequently used applications as well. So you have icons for some of the applications that during installation loaded icons onto the desktop. You can organize them manually like I just did here, or you can also sort by, for example, name. You can rearrange them by size, item type, date modified, and you can look them at medium icon, large icons. You can look at them as a small icons, and there are some additional settings related to those desktop icons. Each icon on the desktop has its own set of settings, and if you do select the icon and then do a right mouse click, you can access all the settings, including properties for each app. It shows where app is located and how to execute it, as well as a lot of different tabs that are available specifically for this application. Desktop itself also has settings, and if you do a right mouse click on the desktop itself, obviously you can reorganize the icons, and I just showed you how to do it, and you can click refresh. You can also access display specific settings. So when I click that on the display settings option, it launches the settings app, and here it starts with the display options that are available to you. As you can see, I have 3 desktops, and I can identify each one. So this is desktop number 3 where I'm recording this video, but I have 2 other desktops. You can rearrange them based on how they are configured. For example, you can put one desktop on top of the other, but this is not my configuration. I have 3 desktops next to each other in one line. And there are some other settings available. You just need to scroll down. For example, one of the very useful settings is the size of the font and how much text is available. Resolution. You have different resolutions available, and you choose the best one typically. I choose the best one for recording, so I have higher resolutions available, which I'm not selecting here. And I do it so people can see this on the mobile devices as well as on the desktops. And then you can choose what to do with multiple desktops. You can duplicate content on the desktops, or you can extend desktops. So each display in your configuration will show its own set of applications, its own desktop, kind of would be an extension. So when you have 3 monitors, you will have desktop that would be located on 3 monitors, and you can drag it from one monitor to the other. Let me close Display Settings app, and let's look at the last part, which is the Personalize. This part allows you to personalize your desktop, and it launches the Settings app with the personalization option. So you can change the background, and you can choose a different picture or solid color or slideshow, and you have some options. I have the left one, but if I'd like, I can choose a different option here. And as you can see, as soon as I selected the different option, my desktop content has changed, and now I have a different image on the desktop. I'm going to go back to Personalize by right mouse clicking, and I'll choose different options how you would fit. This is helpful if your image is not exactly matching the size of your desktop, so you can choose a different options of how you would want to fit. And obviously, if you want to choose your own image, you have to upload it onto the Windows computer, and then click Browse to find it and select it, so it will show up on your desktop. One of the very important applications available to Windows users is File Explorer. So there are multiple ways to launch File Explorer. One of them is from the taskbar, and this is how I'm going to demonstrate it. You just click on the File Explorer, and it has multiple different sections, which we're going to look at momentarily. Quick Access, OneDrive, this PC, Libraries, and Network. Libraries is something that was introduced in Windows 7, so you have to enable them. I use them, so I have them available. You may not see libraries on your machine. But let me close File Explorer for now, and I'll show you another alternative ways to launch it. You do right mouse click on the Start button, and as you can see, File Explorer is available, which is the same applications. And the third way might be through Cortana bar. If you type File Explorer, this is the first app that shows up. Let's look at the key features of File Explorer. I'm going to launch it again. And as I mentioned, quick access is an area where you can pin quickly accessed folders that you need. By default, desktop downloads and documents and pictures are pinned here. If you don't like something being here, you can unpin it. For example, if you don't like maybe pictures be in this area, you can right mouse click and then select unpin from quick access, and then it removes pictures from there. As we go down the list, OneDrive is Microsoft's technology that allows you to exchange information. You have to sign up. There is a free account which has, I believe, 15 gigabytes of storage, which is very nice. If you connect it from multiple PCs, you should be able to access OneDrive, which is a cloud storage from Microsoft. And if you need more space, I think there's a paid version of that. So I clicked on this. It prompts me to enter my email address, assuming I already have an account for sign-in. If you don't have it, you can sign up with OneDrive. I'm going to close this dialog box and keep going. This PC allows you to access to key folders of this workstation, as well as access to Drive C. Libraries, I mentioned this is the feature that Microsoft is trying to retire. So I use it because I used it since Windows 7, but you do not have to. Quick access is a much nicer equivalent of libraries. And then network allows you to see which workstations are connected to your local network, so you can connect to those workstations and exchange data. Let me show you a couple cool things you can do with File Explorer, since as the name implies, it's very useful to work with the files. So I clicked on the documents and do have some sample documents here, and your view might be different, and I'll explain you why it might be different and how to change the view. So you see names of the files, date modified, type of the file, and size. Sometimes you don't see file extensions. I specifically enabled them, and I'll show you how to do that in case you're interested. But if you move through the tabs, and this is the ribbon interface, which as you can see has multiple tabs, in this case File, Home, Share, and View, and you can move between the tabs. And in the Home tab, you have most frequently used functions. For example, you can have a new folder created by clicking a new folder button, and you can has the name of the folder. By default, it's a new folder name, but you can just say it's documents. You just type in the name. In the view, you select what type of view that you would like to have, and you can switch between details, which is what I currently have, maybe to list view, which is more simpler to understand. View details has a lot of information, or maybe content view, or just the icons, small, extra large, or medium types of icons. What I mentioned to you is that I enabled extensions because I'd like to see what type of file it is before clicking on the file. And to do that, I showed you, you need to click on the options. Again, I'm going to walk you through. You click on the view and then click on the options button, and it brings up the folder options dialog box. And there are multiple tabs here. One is General tab, another one is View tab, and this is where you select display file extensions here, as well as display some other options. So the specific option for file extensions is hide extensions for known file types. But I'd like to see everything, so I enable a lot of information. Even I'd like to see protected operating system files. So I'm going to click, show you another tab here, which is search specific tab, before I click cancel. So there are some settings of allows you to configure, for example, search options, and then what to do when searching on indexed location. This is helpful because if you search items in Cortana bar, you can also search for local items. And indexing allows you to speed up the search if you have many documents. So you point where the index would be located and which folders you will be indexing, and then here in Cortana, if you type the name of the document and its index, it will allow you to find the document very quickly. Let me show you a couple ways to work with documents. I'm going to select, for example, sample Word file here, and as you can see on the right, it's a quick preview of this file, which is available for certain file types. For example, Microsoft Word, Excel, any Office product will have it, PDF will have it, and a lot of other applications will have it. So what you can do with the file is you can do a right mouse click and you can copy the file. And if you click on another place, you can paste the file, right? So simple copy and paste. And what Microsoft File Explorer did, it created a duplicate of this file at the bottom, and dash copy added a copy to the name of the file. So what I'm going to do, you can copy file in one folder, navigate to another folder, and then paste file in another folder. So I did copy and paste in the same folder just to simplify, and it's good for you to understand what just happened. But if I, for example, would like to create a duplicate of this file in another folder, I need to click copy, navigate to the folder documents, and then do a paste here, and this will copy and paste file here. To go back, you click the back button, back to the documents, right? And we see two files because they sorted in alphabetical order. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show another way to copy documents. I'm going to click on the file and drag and drop it, and I'm going to drop it, and it's going to move the copy file into the documents. I'm going to release the file, and it went right into the documents folder. A lot of times you need to take a screenshot in Windows 10. Let's look at the different options available so you can pick one that works best for you. One of the easiest way to take screenshot in Windows 10 is to press print screen button on the keyboard. Windows takes screenshot into the clipboard, and then you can access it by pasting it into a different application. For example, if you launch Paint in Windows 10, I already pressed the print screen button. You can just paste it and you see the screen print right in the Paint application. Same way you can paste it into Microsoft Word or any other application that can bring in pictures from the clipboard. Alternative way to take screenshots in Windows 10 is by using Snipping tool. You launch Snipping tool by type Snipping. You type Snipping tool by using Start button in Windows 10. You launch it. Here you can create new snipe by clicking the new button. And Snipping tool allows you to select specific area in Windows 10 which you would like to screenshot. The difference between Snipping tool and print screen button is that print screen always takes a full screen, and Snipping tool allows you to make a selection. Once you take screenshot, you can copy it by clicking Edit Copy or using a keyboard shortcut, and you can paste it into a different application. I will be using WordPad to paste it. So to launch WordPad, you type WordPad in Windows 10 Start menu. It launches WordPad, and then here you just use Paste button, and it pastes that snipe that we just took using Snipping tool. One of the new ways to take screenshots in Windows 10, which was recently introduced, is a tool called Snip and Sketch. You can launch it by using Keyboard or just launch it in Windows Start menu. To launch it in Windows Start menu, you type the name of it, Snip and Sketch, and it shows up as one of the application. And here you can just use a new snip. You select the area, paste it into the editing application where you can highlight it. From here you can copy it by using the copy button, and then you paste it into another application. For example, WordPad. Once copied into clipboard, it could be pasted into any application that has access to clipboard, which is pretty much any Windows application. If you'd like the content, please make sure to click the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Sometimes you may need to take a screenshot and have it saved into the file system. Windows provides a shortcut to accomplish this in one step, using Windows key and print screen button. To take screenshot and save it directly into the file system, you click Windows button and holding Windows button push print screen. You see the screen flashes for a second, and then you navigate to the folder and you go to Pictures, and here Windows created Screenshot subfolder, and here you see your screenshot. One of the coolest productivity features of Windows 10 is its ability to focus on one application at a time and clean up screen quickly so you can stay focused. One of the coolest capabilities to focus on one application and clean up the screen is to just shake the application, which allows you to clear the screen and focus on only a single application. To bring them all back, you can shake again, and it restores the screen as it used to be. Another cool feature Windows provides is the button in the lower right corner. It's barely visible, but I'm moving my cursor here to show where this button is. If you click on this, it minimizes all the applications and shows the desktop. You can click on it again and it restores the desktop. By default, when you launch Command Prompt in Windows, it launches it under Standard User Account, which provides you limited access to scripting environment. But a lot of times, you may need to run Windows Command Prompt as administrator. To run Command Prompt as administrator, you click the Start button and type either CMD, or you can also type Command Prompt, the full name of the command. And here, before clicking on this, you do a right mouse click and select Run as Administrator. Windows prompts you, are you sure this is really what you want to do, because this provides this command window administrative permissions. And we click yes here, and you see that in the upper right corner, it shows administrator : command prompt right here. And this is a good way to differentiate between regular command prompt, which we're just going to launch to compare. So we type it again. And you see there are two command windows. One is administrator : command prompt, and another one is just command prompt. Sometimes you may need to launch Command Prompt in a specific folder in Microsoft Windows. Let's look at how you can do it quickly. A lot of times if you launch Command Prompt, it launches it right in your user directory. For example, mine is C users video recording. But a lot of times you need to launch it in a specific folder, so you have to navigate. For example, you may go get to the root folder and you have to execute multiple commands. Windows provides shortcut and allows you to launch it right in the folder where you want it to be. To do it, you launch File Explorer, navigate to the folder where you'd like to be. So for example, if you want to launch Command Prompt window right inside the temp folder, you navigate to temp folder. Then in the folder bar, you type CMD, and it launches it right in the temp folder, and you can start executing command right for the temp folder. To avoid being hacked, it's very important to check and install latest Windows security patches and Windows updates. To check for updates, you type check for updates in the Start menu, and it launches Windows Update Checker. Once updates are identified, Windows typically installs them automatically and then reboots the computer to finalize the installation. For optional updates, Windows offers you to download optional updates, which makes sense to do to stay current and make sure you're protected against vulnerabilities. I also recommend you check Advanced Update Options by clicking on Advanced Option button, and make sure that you configure them by automatically receiving updates for other Microsoft products that you have installed. For example, it's very good for Microsoft Office. In addition to Windows updates, it also downloads all updates related to Office. Here you can also pause updates. If you suspect that update might damage your system, you can choose the date by which you will pause it. You can pause up to 35 days. Microsoft typically provides major and minor updates, and these options allow you to control when installation is completed for those. A lot of times, you may need additional applications to supplement your Windows 10 installation. To find and install them, you need to navigate to Microsoft Store, which is available right from your Start menu. To do that, let's type Microsoft Store in the Start menu. It launches Microsoft Store, and typically what I'm looking for is productivity apps, but your interests might be different. For example, if you click on the Office 365, it offers you to download or sign up for a subscription, pay either biannually or pay monthly. And as part of this subscription, you will get access to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, Outlook, and Publisher and Access. One of the best and coolest features of Microsoft Store is the ability to shop in one place and find what you're looking for. For example, if we go to Home, you can navigate through different categories like gaming, entertainment, productivity, and search for deals. It used to be that you have to go online and find applications for Windows platform from a lot of different publishers, but now Microsoft Store centralizes it. Another cool thing about Store is Microsoft vetting a lot of applications. before they publish them in the store, which means that they protect you against potential vulnerabilities, as a lot of hackers try to pose as the valid application providers, making you download apps and then make your system vulnerable so they can access and steal information. So getting it from Microsoft Store a lot of times is a way of protecting yourself against that. Sometimes you may need to download many applications at once as a batch, and you would like to do it from the trusted source. One of the best ways to do it in Windows 10 is using knight.com. To do that, let's launch the browser, and you can navigate to knight.com. And here, on this site, you see a list of free or open source applications, and you can select which ones you would like to download. Once you select what you want, the packages them and allows you to download and install them all at once. And it also sets them up for automatic updates. This is basically a way of packaging applications to quickly download them from the trusted source, which is very important, and also set them up so you can continuously get updates when updates come out. I typically select browsers here because I like to use Chrome browser. And Firefox, select the free compression utility, which is very helpful for Windows 7 zip. I select VLC Media Player, which has a lot more capabilities than built-in Windows Player, and typically select Notepad++. Your interests might be different, so definitely explore those tools and see what's available. But let's go through the step and download. To proceed, what you want to do is select everything that you need and then click Get Your Knight. Knight packages the applications and creates the executable, which you can trust because this is a reputable source and a lot of people use this. You click Run on this executable. Windows prompts you, do you really want to trust Knight? And you click Yes here. And after that, it goes and installs all these applications that you have selected. Once installation is complete, you can click Close. All applications are installed. You see VLC Media Player, Notepad++, and both browsers. Now what you can do, you can position them for effective launch. You can launch them from here, from Start menu, or if you launch it once, you can pin it by doing right mouse click and then selecting Pin to Taskbar option. Now even if you close Chrome browser, the icon is still there and you can quickly relaunch it again. In case you forget your Windows 10 password, or your system will get compromised, it is very important to have an alternative way of accessing Windows 10. To do that, you might consider creating backup administrative account, so you have alternative way of logging in and recovering your information. I recommend creating local recovery account to make sure you can access your system without needing an internet connection. To do that, you would need to navigate to Computer Management, and here you can navigate to the local users and groups. Make sure to select Users. And here you just right mouse click and select New User and then type New User Account. You might consider using names that easy for you to understand but harder to guess, so nobody can guess your account, and you always want to use secure passwords here. The name might be Backup Admin 98 to give it some randomness. You might also want to uncheck this unless you do want to change the password at next logon, and typically select Password Never Expires and then type the password here. And then once everything is set up, you click Create button and user account has been created. By default, Windows creates standard accounts, but what you can do now, you can make this account administrative account. To do that, you do right mouse click, click Properties, click Member Of. Account is the member of users group, but we just promoted it to make it member of administrators group. If you'd like the content, please make sure to click the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. It is always a good idea to create a backup of your Drive C when computer is still working and you don't have any issues. This way, you can restore Drive C in case of the disaster. To complete the backup of your Drive C, you might consider creating System Image Disk in Windows 10. To do that, you need to navigate to Backup. You can go directly by typing the Backup right in the Start menu, or you can also call the same option from Settings. Here in Backup, we go to Go Backup and Restore option from Windows 7, and then choose an option to create System Image. Windows is looking for the drives where it will attempt to save the backup, and it should be a separate drive, so this way if something happens to your C drive, you can restore from another drive. In my configuration, I have two drives available. One is drive C, which is 256 gigabyte, and another one is drive E, which is 512 gigabyte. I'm going to attempt to save system image for drive C onto the drive E. And now we can just select this drive and click Next. Windows offers you to backup drive C and also Windows System recovery environment. And all you need to do is just click Start Backup. Once backup is complete, Windows offers you to create a system repair disk. You can use this disk to boot from DVD and then use this backup image to restore your drive C. If you don't have it, it's a good idea to have it and create it when you still can. Or if you have another computer, that's what I rely on, and one computer breaks, you can always create it in another Windows 10 installation. So I'm going to click No here. To restore your computer using system image you created, you need to reboot Windows in recovery mode and make sure your system image is available on one of the connected drives. To restore from the created disk, you need to go to recovery mode and reboot your computer in advanced startup mode. Once you're in advanced startup mode, you click troubleshoot and then you go to advanced options and then you go to system image recovery. So you need to know with which user account this image was created. Mine was created with video recording account. You need to type in your password. Windows identifies the image that was created and it offers you to restore from that. If this video was helpful, make sure to click the like button in your browser. Also, please help your friends to learn this topic faster by sharing this video with them. And if you would like to be the first one to know about new videos to help you reach your goals faster, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to check out my other relevant videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have a lot of great stuff planned in the pipeline and I don't want you to miss any of it. And if you'd like to get notified about all the new stuff that are coming out, make sure to subscribe to my email list as well. All links are here on the screen. Make sure to click to stay in touch. Thanks again for watching.